Let's do it.
Welcome to this week's episode of Load In, Load Out, a tour story podcast produced in Athens, Georgia, in association with Kindercore Industries. This week we loop back around for part 2 of our discussion with the agenda. Ryan joins Matt Lewis, Kindercore co-founder Dan Geller, and frontman Justin Robinson. Topics of discussion include, but are not limited to, bandmates getting trapped in the closet, Justin Robinson gives a heckler the business with a folding chair, and a solemn invitation is extended to hang out in the fog.
So, hey everybody, I'm Ryan, and Cash is not here, and this is Load In, Load Out, and we're here to do the second half of the Agenda mega episode.
Agenda 2.
Agenda 2.
Tokyo Drift.
Jazz Odyssey. Yeah. We started the
two.
season. We started the season with the first part of this episode, which got so long and so late that we decided to make it a two-parter. So we're back to do the second part, and I'm here without Cash this week. He finally gets to miss an episode after I'm the only one that usually misses them, and we're back with Justin,
Hello.
Matt,
Hey.
Dan,
Hi.
and me. So hey,
It's the agenda talking about itself.
it's the agenda talking about itself. Welcome.
Cerberus.
You are welcome. You're welcome. I know that you're all excited about this. So Matt and I were talking earlier about how neither one of us really remember what stories we told last time. But I see that
I made
Justin
notes.
came with notes, which is good because we weren't really chronological and we were all over the place. And I
Yeah.
think you went back and figured out what we didn't tell, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we left off talking about England.
Yeah.
We talked about the van.
Yes.
We talked about a few different.
Lots of Dwayne coverage.
Lots of Dwayne coverage. We talked about a few American shows. But I broke it down and have like a decent outline of like different stories.
This is the most organized podcast episode that's ever happened in this.
I'm not an organized person in my life.
Yeah, I
but
know.
I'm organized about things like this crap.
Well,
Yeah.
They're trivial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even back in the day, you were sort of like one of the agenda's organizational hubs. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm anal retentive as hell. I just don't have any
Yeah.
desire to do real work.
So you need
If
to
only-
disguise your real work as
If
fake
only you could
work, and
parlay
then-
this into,
My headphones just cut out. Can you
That's
still
all
hear
right.
me?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you. You sound great. But yeah, so let's you know what? Let's just start with a topic.
Pick a topic.
What do you got?
All
there?
right.
What do you
So,
got?
do you guys remember the city of Detroit?
Oh yeah,
I was
So,
at that one.
we didn't tell any Detroit stories.
We told
before,
no
did we?
Detroit
Oh, well, I only know
stories.
that one.
I
was
told
only there
Priscilla
once.
one today, actually, when we were getting lunch. So if you don't have it on there, I'll throw it in.
So
Detroit and the agenda got along.
yeah, we had
liked
two.
Detroit.
We had 2 trips to Detroit.
Yeah.
The first time was on our first U.S. tour.
Was that the time when we didn't have a show there, but we
No,
decided
that
to go
was
in?
the second
Okay.
time. First time. Do you guys remember Predator strippers?
Oh yeah, yeah, and the Guns N' Roses shirt.
Yes.
Yes.
Was that the motorcycle one? Did that happen that time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was there. I was there.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so we played at this like biker bar.
I would call it that.
What? Yeah. What was it? Was it?
It was the Lager
The
House.
Lager House,
It was sort
yeah.
of a Detroit garage rock institution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There just happened to be bikers there that night, right?
Well, I think that
No,
I
that was the
imagine
door
every
guy.
night.
Yeah.
The biker was the door guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why he was. That's what. Yeah.
Oh, my
That's
God.
what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, hold that thought.
Yeah.
so. We played at this place, the Lager House.
Which, like, to set the scene too, it was like between 2 burnout buildings.
Oh yeah,
remember?
okay. So I had never,
Like-
I had never been to Detroit before in my life.
And this was like Detroit being run by random bears running around.
Yeah,
Like,
and the street, or like the club was like right off the interstate. I feel like, or right off a major highway.
Well, do
It
you
was
remember?
like under the highway.
Do you remember how we? No. It was off a little ways. But do you remember how we got lost and had to go to that liquor store
Yes.
and try and get directions? And nobody wanted to go in to get directions because it was like the sketchiest liquor store ever. And so I decided to employ a trick that I think is actually really helpful, and everybody should use this in real life. But if you're in a situation that's like kind of sketchy and feel like maybe it's not like going to go the way that you want it to, just act crazy because nobody wants to deal with that bullshit. And so if you just go into a situation and just, kind of talk to yourself or like just act like you're crazy,
Well, yeah.
everyone gives you a wide berth. You immediately have, So I walked. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, the image that I have in my head is still going to be you putting a thermal undershirt on top of your regular shirt.
Yeah.
And then
messed
messing up
my
your hair.
up. Yeah.
And then just like,
I do remember that.
Yeah.
like working on this like 1,000-mile stare.
Yeah. And so I went in, and the thing that was so amazing about this place is it's the only retail establishment I've ever been in where every product that they sold was behind bulletproof glass. It was literally like you walked in, and it was like everything in the store was against the outer wall with bulletproof glass around all of it, and you had to go up to these slots to talk to them to ask for things. And it was like a liquor store, a convenience store, and there were all these people in there, and I had to wait in line, and there was this like, she could have been 60, she could have been 90-year-old woman who was in front of me, and she asked the guy, she obviously knew the guy that she was buying from, and asked him for douche, and he asked her what kind she wanted, and she said, my kind, and the usual, and so he gave it to her because he knew she didn't have to tell him, and then she said, well, time to get to work, and walked out, and she was gonna go be a prostitute, and that was kind of it was sad. It wasn't really even the chips were behind the glass in that place. So I asked for directions eventually when I got up to the front and got them and we got there. I remember when we pulled up, there was like a giant pothole outside of that place too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like you could have almost driven a car in it probably.
And there were like either the building right next to it or like on both sides of it were burned down.
Yes. And it was like, it was like exposed brick walls with like trees growing inside. Like It looked like what we saw in England when we went to places that were bombed during World War II. I mean, yeah. So anyway, Detroit.
So that sets the scene. It's like totally, it's a cool bar.
Yeah.
Super cool bar, but it's definitely sketchy part of town.
Oh, yeah.
Sketchy vibes.
Yeah.
Sketchy people hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
We played, I don't remember who we played with that first time. That wasn't the go. That was the second time.
That was with, it was somebody kind of cool.
Was it like Demolition Doll Rods or something like that?
Yeah. They were like cross-dressing, like Iggy Pop kind of whatever. He was hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
You were hanging from the ceiling. There was a lot of hanging from the ceiling.
I don't really remember the show at all, but I remember there were these two girls there that were dancing on the bar.
Yeah.
And they both had like Predator
dreads.
braids.
Yeah.
And
Ian.
Battlefield Earth.
And Ian.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we were calling him, was Battlefield Earth. And Ian was like, he was single.
Yeah.
And he was ready to mingle.
He was ready to mingle.
And he.
And do you remember them talking about what they did, like how they made money? That they had like a porn site or something. Like they
really?
were, yeah.
Were they like Suicide Girls or something like that?
No, they were
Like
they were off
Suicide
the
Girls.
I just remember it being a thing that we were all kind of like, what? Like that's a thing that people do for a job now?
Right.
Like it was early in that.
It was ahead of the curve.
They were ahead of the curve with their hairstyle and with their job.
Because it still hasn't come into style yet. They're way ahead.
Not yet.
But I just remember, like going in the bathroom and like coming out, and there were these two girls, and they were standing on top of the bar, and they had taken off their shirts, and they had put agenda stickers over their boobs.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is
you're
going
like, what
on?
is happening in this place? And the vibe in that place just kept getting rowdier.
Right.
Like, remember, it just kept, like, it was
Escalating,
like, it kept escalating, and it was like, in another town, it would have, like, just kind of faded out, and it would have been fine, but, like, it just, people kept getting, like, a few people kept getting more and more aggro, and, like, this whole time, the bar, or the door guy had a motorcycle outside on the street. Like this big fancy, like it was a Harley, I think, right? And it was super fancy. And at some point he went inside, and this other guy who was friends with him took off all his clothes
except for his underwear.
Except for his underwear, and started posing all over the motorcycle.
Right.
Like he was in,
like in a sexy photo.
Yeah. Like he was on like a poster from the 80s from Spencer's Gifts or something. And like, yeah, posing all over it, just like dragging himself all over the thing. And the guy came back out and flipped out.
Yeah.
Like, flipped out. on his friend, was just like not having it. That was not okay.
Right.
And like I remember the guy like getting off and like running away in his underwear still because the guy was so pissed. And I guess this was maybe I guess I'll wait on this because
No.
is that how it ended?
Yeah. So like the guy like backed his fucking motorcycle up into the door of the bar.
Yeah. That he worked at.
Yeah, he worked at, and then just revved it for like 5 minutes,
Yeah,
or maybe not 5 minutes, for a
filled
long
it.
Filled the entire bar with like exhaust smoke.
People are running out of all the doors. Like, oh my god,
it was like a poison cloud,
It was
engulfing the bar. We were all like outside, like
unbearable.
And then he like took off.
Yeah, and then he was just that guy was not happy.
And it just totally killed the killed the bar.
Yeah.
So it's important to note that like these were our people. Like,
they were way into what we were doing.
Few audiences enjoyed us as much as they do, and I think like a theme for me at least throughout that whole tour was the more people liked the agenda, the less comfortable we were around them.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, that's totally true. It's like, because I feel like our music wasn't necessarily... It appealed to people that were way dirtbaggier than we were.
Yeah.
And we were pretty dirtbaggy at the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, relatively. more than we are now, certainly.
Right. Oh,
yeah. That was peak dirtbag.
Yes. I feel like for all of us, that was probably peak dirtbag, yeah. So this was before... This was not the one where we went to the after party.
No.
Okay. So, yeah.
So then we're like, okay, we're not fucking staying in Detroit.
But I also think it should be pointed out that Ian, like you said, he was single.
Right.
That's before that he was trying to like flirt with those girls.
Yeah.
And they were trying to flirt with him. And there was this sort of a common theme, I feel like, with Ian, where he was incredibly attractive, but had a real inability to flirt with people.
Well, no, it was is like we were like
really weird situations.
No, I think that they had invited us to stay with them.
Okay, I don't remember that, but I may not have been there for that.
But maybe not.
Yeah.
But I remember we were like, fuck, we're not staying in Detroit.
We're getting out of this place.
We're getting out of the city. But Ian had this awesome like vintage Guns N' Roses T-shirt.
Yeah, before they were making like Target Guns N' Roses T-shirts, like the real deal.
Yeah, he had like it was like a '80s Guns N' Roses T-shirt, and one of the girls was like, "I'll give you a kiss for your shirt."
Yeah,
and so he was like,
and we were all getting in the van at this point, right? Because it was like, hurry up,
yeah.
and he ran back and gave them his shirt.
Yeah,
right?
and got a kiss.
Yeah,
and then we're like going down the interstate, and he's like, "Oh man."
Well, we all started making fun of it. I remember because you were like, dude, you gave away your shirt. That shirt's fucking awesome. What are you thinking? And we all started kind of making fun of him. And then he was like, oh, man, now I'm really upset. Oh.
So then we turned around and went back. And he was like, I'm sorry, I need my shirt back.
We hope you're enjoying this week's show. If you are, head on over to Kindercore.com where you'll find a plethora of metaphorical piñatas, including a place to sign up for information about our new manufacturing concern, Kindercore Vinyl. We also invite you to check out the other Kindercore podcast, Wild Combinations with DJ Mahogany. Every episode, Mr. Mahogany and a specially chosen guest pull a particular thread that runs through movies, music, and sex. You can check it all out at Kindercore.com. And now, back to our show.
So, I don't know if you remember breakfast the next morning at Cracker Barrel. Yes. So, let me tell
I think
you.
we told that story the last
Did we? When I was throwing up in the bathroom? And, okay, so that,
me and Matt and Dan we pretended like we were the Strokes.
Yeah. Cracker Barrel. That was a good time.
We didn't pretend. We just went along with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And in those days, it didn't take much to be mistaken for the Strokes.
Right.
No.
There were a lot of lookalikes touring
true.
the
We were
US.
not one of them, though.
No, we didn't look anything like them. But,
We were greasy.
We were about a foot
greasy.
shorter.
Yeah.
We were
way less rich.
So that was Detroit Part 1. Detroit Part 2, we had a show in Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
That we were supposed to be playing with Jucifer, I think, or
I think that might be right. And it got canceled.
It got canceled.
Yeah.
And so we showed up in Toledo. There was no show. And we were like, fuck. And we were like, what's the closest city? And maybe we looked up online, or we looked up, or probably not online because we hadn't had smartphones.
Right.
I think maybe the Toledo paper had like a like a sort of flagpole kind of paper that had like shows, but it had shows in Detroit too, because I think Toledo's pretty close to Detroit, like 2 hours.
And it said Garage Rock Band Contest.
Well,
no,
we drove straight there.
No. Well, somehow we found out that the Go were playing in Detroit that night, and we were like,
we've heard them, right? Like, let's go see if we can get on that bill.
And it was at the Logger House again, which like we had
like that went over well
previously.
last time. Yeah, so let's go see. So we drove there, and we must have found out a little earlier on, because I remember we got there, we were there first, like waiting, and then people started to show up. And when the Go pulled up, we were just like, hey, so, we had a show drop out. We don't need any money or anything. Do you mind if we play?
Right. Yeah. We just were like, we want to play. We'll play for free.
Yeah.
We'll play, now.
Yeah.
We just needed a show, and, and we should
So we just drove up here to see if it would happen. And
they were like, cool. Yeah. And they let us play. We opened the show. And then they gave us $200 after the show.
Yes.
Like, their manager straight up, like, walked up to the stage.
On the stage
afterwards.
before we got off and was like, holy shit, guys, that was incredible. Here's some money. Yeah, that was amazing. But that was they had a guitar player, right?
They did have a guitar player.
I've got that.
You've got, okay, yeah.
So, first, before that, all right, so like we play with the Go. It's a great show. They gave us $200. It was like a total like.
So we were all freaking out.
Yeah,
like, holy
and they were
shit.
like,
yeah.
Hey, do you guys want to go to a party?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have anything better to do.
Yeah.
And so
we're like, we're in for Detroit tonight. We'll do it.
And so there was a woman.
Yeah, this is the story I told Priscilla earlier.
I mean, I don't remember how old she was. She was older than us.
She was way older than us.
Yeah.
And now that we're old, I hesitate to say that she was in her early 40s. I want to say she was in her late 40s because that makes me feel better now.
I think she was probably in her early 40s.
But she was
like at least 10 years older than the oldest one of us.
And had as much or way more to drink than any of us had.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
More.
And she had us follow her in her car.
Yes.
So we were driving our van behind her. You weren't.
I was not there
so
for this.
The dam wasn't on. You must have been with World Trade Center at this point.
Yeah.
So we're following this lady through like residential neighborhoods, and definitely it started to feel like we're getting lost, or like she doesn't know where she's going. And at some point, she stops her car in the middle of the street.
Yes.
In the middle of the street, and gets out in a neighborhood. Gets out, leaves her door open. Like, comes up to the van, and our van was, a tall van. And so I think Joseph had tried to, like, roll the window down, but she wanted the door open.
Right.
So the driver's side door is open in our van, and she's talking to him in mid-conversation, pulls her underwear down, pulls her skirt up, and just squats and starts peeing while she's talking to him. just peeing in the street while she's talking to him about this party that's going to be the best party. It's going to be so great.
Here's a little preview.
Yeah, exactly. If you guys were wondering what you're in for, here you go. So she's peeing in the street, and like I remember thinking like this is kind of a nice neighborhood. Like it was like it was like a suburban Detroit neighborhood with like decent houses and stuff. And so we followed her to the party. I want to say I think I maybe was like either really drunk or really tired and just stayed in the van because I don't think I actually went into the party.
I went into the party.
Yeah.
I went into the party.
I know Joseph went into the party because he was talking to the guitar player.
So the guitar player in the Go claimed that now we don't know. We can't verify this.
Is the Go were they a new band at that time, or
no? They had been around since like the late '90s. Okay. Jack White had either produced their first record or been on.
I think he was
guitar.
in there. Because the Go started. I remember
they were on Sub Pop,
and they started as a bowling team.
Yeah,
and there was something, and Jack White had something to do with it, and they like recorded some songs for the fuck of it, and then put out records.
Yeah, they were like way ahead of the garage rock trend. Yeah. Like their first record came out in like 98 or 99 or something like that. So like, well, I mean, I guess there was plenty of garage rock in the 90s, but like
sure, but that 4th, 5th, 10th wave, whatever it was, that 2000s wave, the early 2000s
they were ahead of that. And anyway, so the guitar player in the Go, he claimed that he had been the guitar player for Kid Rock in his original band.
And moreover, complained that he had written all of Kid Rock's songs.
Wow, that's something you'd want to take credit for.
But it was a sob story about how Kid Rock had stolen the songs from him.
Stolen Bawa Taba, specifically Cowboy.
Okay.
Yeah, he told us that he had written Bawa Taba, Cowboy, and one other of the big hits.
Okay.
And but he got hooked on heroin.
Yep, he was
chasing the
dragon, which I believe was the first time that I ever heard that
he
expression.
actually said that.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, man, I've been chasing the dragon."
I think that's where I heard it for the first time was when you told me this story.
It was, you can't chase the dragon forever. I believe is what he said.
Yeah,
but
he was right. I think. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, he was very burned by Kid Rock.
Yeah,
right.
He had nothing nice to say about Kid Rock. And you know what? I believe him.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And yeah, at that party, let's see. So there was that guy. I think like I was still 18.
Yeah,
like,
you were still like wide-eyed exploring the world. Yeah.
So this was definitely
was that the first time you had ever seen people doing cocaine?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly where I was going with this. This is the first time I've ever seen anyone doing cocaine, and absolutely the first time I ever had anybody yell at me while on cocaine. And the fact that it was about how much they liked our band didn't help. His like red face,
screaming at you
2 inches away from me,
oh
like,
my God.
and it was like, "Thank you, man." He's like,
Thanks.
"You're welcome."
And now that happens to you every day, right?
He like grabbed you by your ears. I love your band.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it was crazy. I knew exactly what was happening because I had seen movies before.
Sure,
I mean, it was just dead on.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, right?
Apparently.
That's what they say.
So that's all I remember about Detroit Part 2.
Yeah, those were good shows, though. I mean, I remember that being some of the most fun that we had playing shows.
Yeah.
Like Matt said, those were our people.
Well, you know, have you ever seen
Even
that?
though we didn't want to be around them. We just wanted them to see us play.
Have you ever seen that Jim Jarmusch movie, Coffee and Cigarettes?
Yes.
I think that the Lager House is in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The scene where Jack White and Meg are playing with the Tulsa coil.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
I think there's a part of that thing where they're at the Lager House, but I could be wrong.
I also remember that everyone there had weird chips on their shoulder about Jack White and the White Stripes because they had gotten big.
How many conversations did we have about that day?
And I think that they may have had they already moved away from Detroit at that point, or they still lived.
No, they were still living in Detroit, but that was at their peak of their.
Everyone was mad at them for something.
Right.
And it was right around the time when he and that guy from the band, the Von Bondies, had that.
When he beat the shit
out of that guy. And I want to be like, yeah, dude, like I might have done the same thing because like everyone was being a total bastard about it. Like, I mean, I don't know him. I mean, maybe he's a total turd, but like they were so attacking him like just for being popular. So yeah, I mean, I can kind of.
Well, that was also happening to us.
Here,
yeah. Not to that scale, obviously. It would if it would have been like that had we been that successful. People would have totally hated us.
Yeah, no, and some people did. And fortunately, I mean, I guess so. Those people now have since apologized and become friends, and so the stories really aren't as good anymore. But if those people hadn't apologized, there would have been some really good stories about what turds they were.
Speaking of turds, did we talk about the Montreal feud?
That's on here.
Let's do it. Yeah, this is a good one.
That's one where peace has been made now.
Yes.
But
hugely.
The story should still be told.
Right.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
This is when
because we all know how this turned out.
We were in Wisconsin, staying at Dan's parents' house, and it's probably the first time I've been able to use the internet.
Yep. And you went right to it.
Well, no.
You got right in there.
Yeah. So
mixed it right up.
So it's like the first time I've been able to like check my email and shit in like a couple of weeks, and so I got on, and
you were on some kind of message board, right? Or something?
Well, I was looking, as people do, for stuff about their band online.
Yeah. So you were Googling us. Yeah, okay.
And I somehow came across this indie rock message board. I don't know if it was specifically a Kindercore or Elephant Six.
It was Elephant Six.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely wouldn't have been a Kindercore specific one. But yeah.
So it was this Elephant Six indie rock message board. And there was this post, and it was all talking shit about the Agenda, Maserati,
the new rock band,
Jet by Day,
yeah, all these. I don't even
Paper Lions.
Well, basically all of the bands that we were on tour with at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was this post, and it was just talking tons of shit about what the fuck is Kindercore doing?
Yeah.
Why are they putting out these fucking bands?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. You know what? They're probably right, but
but anyway, we put out music we liked.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. So they had like it was like this post that was just talking all this mad shit about us, and so me being the kind of person I am,
You were like, don't mind if I do.
I created a profile for myself. It was like called like "Of Montreal Sucks Dicks" or something like that.
I remember, like, as an aside, I remember finding out that this was like happening / had just happened and being like, no.
Oh God! I mean, I was
about it.
Oh yeah, no, I did this.
And then Dan and I got in trouble for that.
Yeah,
like, and also we have to remember this is a Montreal pre-polyvirus.
Yeah,
this is Twee of Montreal.
Twee of Montreal. This is not super mega popular, like popular, way more popular than us.
Yeah.
But
sure, but they were still losing us money.
So anyway, so of Montreal, I wrote this rant making fun of Montreal and all of these other twee bands that were on Kindercore and all these bands from Athens and people from Athens and just like it was a huge.
I never read it.
I wish we had screenshots of all that stuff.
That'd be amazing.
Oh my God!
It was like most posts were like a paragraph long.
Out there,
I wrote like a goddamn book, like just like a 10-page like post. Like
you went all in,
all in.
Put all your cards on the table.
About an hour or so later, you guys got a phone call.
Yeah.
About my and maybe I did tell you guys about it, or maybe I didn't.
No, I remember we found out about it while we were still there,
right?
Because for some reason I have this visual of the actual computer and the room that it was in. And being like, son of a bitch. Like, God damn it. If we
the
could
computer's
just
still sitting there with a big LCD or CRT
screen. Dick and Jackie gather around. But so, yeah. No, so we definitely knew about it. But then this was before, like, we were about to go into that round of playing a bunch of shows in Ohio.
Yes.
Right? And Montreal was ahead of us by a day.
They were like, they were
us.
Basically on the same tour schedule as us, but they were like a day or two ahead of us every show.
Yeah.
And Derek was tearing down all of our posters.
Well, remember how we found out is that we got to this place in Columbus,
I remember this vividly.
And it was like
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland. Because we had gone to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum, which was fucking amazing.
Yes.
Oh, that was great.
And we were like, that was incredible. And we go into this place, and that was the show where there was like laptops. Like the people playing with us were like a laptop band.
They were like noise folks.
Like it was on like
we played so many shows with laptop bands.
But I remember like specifically walking in and being like, oh, son of a bitch, this is not going to be a good show. And
I was from my other band was so sick of that because that's what we played and that's all the time. I'm like, oh no, please no.
I remember you specifically being like, oh, motherfucker. So we walk in and the bartender's like, hey, guys, aren't you on Kindercore? And we were like, yeah. And they were like, well, so Montreal played here the other night and it was really weird. The drummer got up and
bass player.
No, he switched back and forth, and he had been playing drums at this point because he said the drummer got up in the middle of the song and tore down all the agenda posters
during the song,
ran into the bathroom and stuffed them in the toilet.
Yeah, mid-set,
which was great for a lot of reasons. One of which that he stuffed them in the toilet, but whatever. So anyway, yeah, and so the club was just like, "What's up with that?" And I was just like, I don't, you know.
So we started it, right? You started it.
No, they started it because they were the ones that. Derek was the one who had written the post.
Oh, he had written
responding
that post.
to them.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was just a third party that wrote that post.
It was my understanding.
Let's say that it was Derek, and it'll make us feel better.
It may have not have been. Maybe
but
I don't think it was.
To be fair, Derek and us all are great now.
Oh
right?
yeah, no, I love Derek.
Friends.
Derek's awesome.
Yeah.
I was 23. This is the
stupid
shit that a 23-year-old.
It's important to note this was the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. You know, 9/11 was still a fresh memory.
Yeah, it was.
We were while on tour watching our country like in slow motion go into a stupid war that's still going on now. Tension was running high.
Yeah, sure.
There are a lot of good excuses.
There are a lot of good excuses. Yeah. Also. Yeah, we were just dicks too, but really, I mean, that was
really Justin.
That was really on you. I mean, we all did our share of things or whatever, but that was you.
I had nothing to do with it.
The Telegraph people threatened to fine us.
Yeah, they threatened to fine us. I mean, to be fair, they wound up stealing the record label, and one of them had to flee the country. So, you know, that's a preamble to a much longer story that won't be told on the podcast. But like, they were garbage people
or the TV show.
Fucking criminals that like literal criminals. So, you know, whatever. We'll leave that there. But yes, they did. They were our distributor at the time and called and threatened to fine the agenda. And I remember laughing at them Of course, I didn't know that within a year they would fire me from my own company and
steal all of our money.
We'd steal all of our money and then flee the country. But whatever. It's beside the point. They're fucking criminals. But I remember being in the so that we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2 days in a row, and we went back the second day, and I remember being in the van, pulling into the parking lot, and getting out to go in, and them calling and having them screaming at me on the phone while we were getting ready to go into the thing, and just being like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then we went to a couple other places, and there was more defaced poster situations. Like I remember at that place, that was in Kentucky, but it was near Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's the city right across the river from Cincinnati.
Is this where does this lead us to another story?
And this leads us into another story.
Yeah,
maybe the best, one of the best.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So
I forgot about this. Oh God.
Let's do it.
I'll never forget.
These were dark. Like these weren't good shows. Those few shows, I remember feeling like they were like the one in Cleveland was pretty shitty.
Yeah,
like,
it was
just wasn't like our audience, and it was after Detroit where we had some good shows.
Yeah,
and so I remember like in the Cleveland one, whatever town in Kentucky we were in, I remember I took off and went to try and get some pizza somewhere, have like dinner by myself, and I just remember sitting there and being like, man, shit is not going well. Like this is not the way that I want this to be happening. And then we got back to the place, and there was more Head Up Montreal written over agenda posters. There was some poster writing on things there, and I played that place with a couple of different bands, so it's hard for me to remember which time was which. But so then go on.
All right, so yeah, I don't know the name of the town, but it's like literally it's whatever town is right across from the city of Cincinnati that's in Kentucky.
And it was a big place.
Yeah, it was a big place, bigger than the 40 watt. It was like a big hall.
Yeah. And it was in an old building. Like it had been like some kind of old.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was a
neat place.
Yeah, it was a nice place. So we get there, and there's another touring band that we're playing with. This band, they were from Boston, I think.
Yeah.
And they were called the Beatings.
Uh-huh.
And then I think And then I think there may have been a local band.
Yeah, well, was it
Lexington
where we were?
No, it wasn't.
No,
Florence.
No. I don't know.
Just don't just
on
say
the map.
don't just say
it
names
like
of places
Newport?
in Kentucky.
Yeah, I think it's called
Newport News or
Yeah, that's in Virginia. But it might have been Newport, Kentucky.
Okay,
Newport.
Let's say
Okay,
it
at
doesn't
any rate,
matter.
and Speed Dealer, formerly known as REO Speed Dealer, was supposed to play with us for that show.
Okay.
And they had broken up because one member of the band had stolen another member's property to buy drugs.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
and I bet they were all shocked that a member of
that's
Speed Dealer stole money from another member.
just a sidebar there.
Yeah.
All right, so we were the headliner for that show.
Really?
We ended up being a headliner. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that
being canceled.
That's where the animosity came from, right?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I never found out. Well, anyway, so
They were not good, the Beatings, right?
I don't think I watched.
I remember them
not
being like
good.
a shambolic, but not in a good way, like shitty indie rock band.
Yeah,
like, I remember them not.
I don't
being
remember
good.
what they sound like.
But,
I don't think I watched them.
Yeah.
I probably hung out in the back.
I think that was definitely, like I said, that was a point I think where we were like all kind of in separate corners.
Yeah, I was
like,
watching the show by
myself. I think
myself.
everybody was kind of just like.
I think I was watching with Ian, actually.
Yeah.
But what I do remember is there was a dude at the show, this kid who was hanging out in the front, and he kept yelling, "You guys are ripping off Radio Birdman." He kept yelling that at me.
He was so proud of himself that he knew who Radio Birdman was.
So back when we first started the band, we used to wear armbands all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I guess Radio Birdman wore armbands back in the 70s. I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah.
I had heard like one Radio Birdman song at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like they weren't not an influence on us in any way whatsoever. So, but this kid kept fucking being like, "Radio Birdman, like the whole set," and I was just like, "Dude, shut the fuck up." So anyway, we're playing one of our songs, and I turn my back, and I'm like rocking out and stuff, and all of a sudden, everything is dark, and I feel trapped, and I realize that
I am trapped.
Someone has run up on stage and dumped a fucking trash can over me.
Like an industrial trash can, one of those giant ones.
Big rubber, big rubber trash can over my body.
Yeah.
And I fell down. And I got up and I threw the fucking trash can off, and I'm looking around, and that kid and the guy that kept yelling Radio Birdman is just staring at me. And there were these plastic folding chairs that were like on the floor.
Yep. Yeah.
And I jumped off the stage and I grabbed one of the chairs and I just fucking hit the kid with it. I just fucking hit him like total wrestling move. Just fucking smashed the plastic chair against him. His girlfriend's like, "What the fuck?" And
because he didn't do it. Right?
He didn't do it.
This was like when my Chihuahua used to bite me. When another dog would bite him, he would turn and bite me. This is like this,
But I just, he was antagonizing me the whole show, so I just
like, this is your fault.
I just assumed that it was him, so I attacked him, and then I got back on stage. We finished the set. And then after the show, people were like, "Oh no, it was the other band. The lead singer of the Beatings, was the one who dumped the trash can
you and threw the trash can on you." Oh,
so I went and apologized to the kid. And he was like, "No, man, that was awesome." He was like,
"Birdman never did that."
Yeah. He was like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry," but I felt bad. It's
Bill has to pan that in stereo, dude, and I both say the same thing. Oh man!
So I gave him I gave him the Agenda CD for free and was like, "Sorry." And
that's good.
Yeah, that was Kentucky.
Yeah, that was good.
This week, we'd like to encourage you to check out our friends at Project Safe, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to ending domestic violence through prevention, educational programs, and ongoing supportive services. You can contact them and donate to their cause at project-safe.org. That's project-safe.org. As always, if you see a band in the wild this week, hit up the merch table. Treat yourself to something nice. Small purchases make a big difference to bands out on the road. Filling gas tanks and stomachs, funding studio sessions, and gear purchases. It makes a difference.
We did so many dumb things in that band. Holy cow! Did we talk about the Black Dog last time? Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about? In the desert, Black Dog.
Oh, right.
Like a literal dog?
Well, no.
Figurative dog.
Okay.
I guess.
More of an
animal.
More of an excuse for falling asleep while you're driving.
Oh.
So, and this is out of context of anything else, but we're driving through the middle of the desert. And driving through the desert sucks, as anybody who's been in a band knows, because it never ends and it's fucking boring as shit. And Matt, you were with Joseph being the passenger at this point, right?
I think that
I was asleep.
Okay,
I woke up on the floor.
Yeah, I was in the passenger seat then, I guess, but I had dozed off.
Well, so this is in the phase where Joseph was making you stay awake with him while playing Tom Waits or a Woody Guthrie audiobook.
Oh God.
Or what was the other thing?
Let's see, Red House Painters.
Yeah, Red House Painters.
My God.
Yeah. So he would play
Like
one of those three things in the middle of the night.
Upbeat tour music.
Yeah, in the middle of the night and be like, "No, you got to stay awake with me. You're with me, right?" And so we're driving and I was laying on one of the bench seats and I just remember waking up when my face hit those things, the metal parts of the seat, and the seats are locked into the floor or whatever. And I woke up on the ground with that, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I just heard Joseph in the front going, "There's a black dog. There's a black dog in the street. There was a black." And Matt had dozed off, and I guess he probably dozed off too.
He must have.
And swerved really hard, and then started hollering, insisting that there was this black dog.
So he was dreaming about a black dog.
That must be it. Yeah,
I guess so.
What's funny is I don't know if it was that tour or some other tour, but I have definitely woken up on the floor of the van after a stop before because I think that's
because someone slammed on the brakes.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common experience.
Yeah, well, I remember after that when I did that, I would put my arm through the seatbelt thing, so that I wouldn't fall off the same way.
Be ripped off instead.
Yeah, exactly. So I would just lose an arm and then wake up on the floor. There was a lot of dumb shit that happened to this band. Like when we have people in on this podcast and they tell stories, and like some bands come in and they've got a lot of stories and it's crazy, and then other bands come in and they're like, well, one time we were on tour, this one thing happened and it was pretty crazy, and then that's about it. But like, how in the world this band that wasn't really around for that long has this many fucking dumb stories?
We went on tour 4 times.
Yeah,
we did a 2.5 month tour. We did like a 2-week tour.
Yeah.
And then we toured England twice. That was it.
I think that was pretty much it.
And something crazy happened every day.
I mean, pretty much every day. Yeah. So what do you have next?
Do you guys remember, was it Columbus, Missouri?
Columbus, Missouri.
House party?
Oh, God. That was another one where oh, boy. That was a personal low for me. Like, at that point, I was like, my utilities were getting turned off at home. Like, I remember I was trying to sell stuff on eBay, like, over the phone through getting somebody else to sell my stuff on eBay. That, when I think back of all the cool equipment that I had, like the Moogs and Rickenbackers and all those things that I had to sell, man, that was some pretty cool stuff.
You didn't have a drug habit.
I did not. That's crazy. But so yeah, that was a show that was not good.
No, we played with like an electronic band or something.
Like Darkwave, I want to say.
Yeah, like in like a basement of a house that was like
the fucking moldiest. Like most. I remember walking into the basement and being like, "Oh my god," because I have pretty bad allergies, and like, "Oh, this is not going to go well." It was like mildew with absolutely no ventilation.
Yeah,
like a brick walls. And we got to this place, and they were like, it was a house show, like you said.
Yeah, it was a house show.
And like the band was like the other band. It was not like a, I mean, whatever professional show in any sense of that. It was just like us and some other kids.
I think it was the people who lived at the house. It's like their band. But they also had a band. Matt, do you remember what they were called?
Oh
yeah.
Was it Bin Laden Youth?
Yes.
Yes, Bin Laden Youth.
Yeah. Like you said, heady times.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. We
Post 9/11.
They had a rap group called Bin Laden.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I forgot it was a rap group.
I think they took Matt and Ian upstairs and were like, "You want to hear a song?"
Yeah, it was us and like half a dozen other people, and they were playing the like Fruity Loops backtracks with like talk singing in front of it.
Yes.
Like spelling out Taliban and
oh my god,
because
just doing that was like they felt like they were being like
edgy.
Really extreme.
It was edgy. Yeah,
it was super edgy.
And then let's see this because we were up there hanging out on the top level, and then one of them turned and said, "You guys want to hang out in the fog?"
So this was after the show, right?
This was after the show, which during the show, in that moldy basement, there was a fog machine going full blast the entire time, which was really irritating.
Yeah, so I was miserable. And like at this point, when you guys were doing that, I had tried to go to sleep at that point. And the only place I could find to go to sleep was a love seat next to the front door. And all the lights were on. Nobody would turn any of the lights off. And
was I there for this, or I just know the story?
I don't think you were.
I think you just know the story.
I know the story vividly. I feel like I lived it, but
So I remember laying on this couch, and it was like, because it was a house show, and I don't think we were making enough money to like have liquor with us or anything. And I remember thinking like, man, this just sucks. Like, this sucks. I'm selling all my equipment. Like, what the fuck? The bands were shitty. The show was shitty. So I'm trying to lay there, and people keep walking by and slamming the door right next to my face. And then somebody tripped over my suitcase and fell on top of me. And, like, it just kept getting more uncomfortable. And then I remember you guys all going downstairs to the basement because you were going to go hang out in the fog. And it was like, what is even happening? And then what happened?
No, I don't know. I didn't actually go down there. I think Ian was the only one who actually went.
Of course.
Which was
Ian always went. If there was some place to go, he'd be like, yeah, I'll go.
No, they just sat around in the fog.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sat down and cranked that fog machine and
Man, that must have been really fun.
Yeah.
Just allergic as hell. That sucked.
Do you guys remember when we played in Milwaukee?
I do. Cactus Club?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bar place. Yeah, I remember that being good. Was there something weird that happened?
Yeah. My parents were there, and Justin took off all his clothes. And my mom said, that was the best show I've ever seen. They still talk about it when I go home. My little cousin Mandy.
Yeah, it was like your cousin who was like 16 or something.
She's in a band now. It influenced her to be in a band.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's so
That's
good.
all I remember is
that's so good.
I got like not completely naked, but into my underwear at that show, and like Dan's whole family was there.
And they loved it. They loved it. My brother thought it was the coolest thing he'd ever seen.
God.
Everybody loved it. This was the only time that my family liked any of my bands, I think.
That's really funny. That's really...
Especially my brother, right?
Man. Yeah, that was... I remember like that place was really cool.
Cactus Club is still a great place.
Yeah, there was the band that we played with, like, the guitar player kept throwing his fucking guitar through the roof. Like,
I don't remember that.
They had like a...
Drop ceiling?
Yeah, drop ceiling.
It would come around,
And he was just like throwing his guitar into the roof and catching it. It was awesome.
Yeah, what were they called? They were good.
Was that two-piece? Or was it the different one?
There was two bands, because there was one that was like a two-piece, like kind of bluesy rock, and then this was like a full. They were the headliner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't remember what they were called. They were like really like angry garage rock.
Yeah.
It was that was a good show. It was like 3 garage rock bands.
Yeah.
It was 2 local bands and us. We played in the middle.
Yeah.
There was like a decent crowd of like locals and stuff. And yeah, like I got
and Dan's family.
And I felt the spirit in me. Stripped.
You were moved to nudity.
That was usually a safe bet, though, that would get a good reaction from the crowd if you just took a bunch of clothes off.
Take your clothes off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. If you're a skinny boy, or if you're a fat guy.
Yeah, I mean, just
take it off.
Maybe I'll start doing that at Booty Boy shows. Sounds like a good idea.
Go. That would be good.
Do you guys remember when we played in Utah?
Oh yeah. Did we not tell this one last time?
No, we didn't tell it.
Tattoo Ryan in the closet. We didn't tell. Oh my god.
Is this what's the name of the venue?
I have no idea.
Kilby Court?
No, it was somewhere different.
No, we've forgotten the name of this venue.
Okay. But we didn't play at that place
on purpose.
Yeah, we pulled up to this place and we hadn't really been anywhere in Utah yet, right?
No, we had never. This was in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God,
we probably drove like 8 hours to get there.
Yeah. And the show after it we missed, which was a fucking nightmare, and we told that story last time. But that was the one in Idaho that we missed, or whatever. It was after the Salt Lake City show.
I think we played Denver after Utah, because it isn't Colorado after.
No, that would have been the wrong direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, whatever.
But yeah. So, go ahead.
So we get to this club, and we're like, we're loading in and everything, and the door guy's like, all right, I need to see your IDs. Now, before we get to that, this door guy, he was this big, tall, bald, white dude, and he had a tattoo on top of his head.
Yes.
Do you guys remember what that tattoo was?
I'll never forget. I will take this memory to my grave. Also, his name tag.
Would that be the Air Jordan logo?
Yes.
That would be the Air Jordan logo.
Taking up his entire
full size. Yeah.
Entire head.
Yeah. His entire head, the Air Jordan logo, which is fucking Michael Jordan dunking, right?
Yeah, and then
like the dumbest fucking
tattoo. Do you have a
tattoo.
swoosh on the back?
No, he had the number 23 on the back.
Right.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Jesus.
He had 23 on his neck, and on the entire top of his head was the Air Jordan logo.
Yeah.
And this guy was tall. He was probably like 6'5".
Yeah,
or 6'6".
and he had a name tag that said Tattoo Ryan on it. And he was really excited to refer to himself as Tattoo. And he introduced himself as Tattoo Ryan.
And I was just like, so are you a jazz fan?
So I also remember that guy was really upset that we didn't have, I can't remember what he called them, but
beanies.
Beanies, yeah. What? No beanies? Because we kept saying that afterwards for weeks.
How am I going to cover up this terrible tattoo?
Well, he went up to the merch table and asked Joseph. He was like, "What? No beanies?" And then I think Joseph was like, "Why would you want one? Why would you want to cover that up?" But the best thing about that show was the treatment of our drummer.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Would you like to
Young Master
Would you
Lewis.
like to tell the story, Matt?
Sure. So
He's taking IDs.
They take IDs.
I feel like I said.
I know what's gonna
I feel like
happen.
the first
They
thing
have
I
weird
said
rules
when he
there.
was like, "I need to see everybody's IDs," and I was like, "No, it's cool, we're playing." And it was like, "No, we need to see IDs," and it was like, "Oh, this is going to be a shitty show."
Yeah, and I mean, like, folks have looked at our IDs before. We just explain, hey, our drummer's under 21. That's actually all you really need to do to explain. Like,
usually everybody's like, "Oh, he's right, that's fine."
He's literally not a cop.
Yeah. So this guy was like, okay, well, what you're going to need to do, we've got a small room back off to the side of the stage. You're just going to need to stay in there the entire time unless you're playing. And we all have a good laugh about it.
And we all thought, it's like a
funny
room.
joke. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
That's what, at first we were like, oh, Tattoo Ryan made a joke.
Yeah.
We all laugh. Tattoo Ryan doesn't laugh.
After Ryan didn't
And he's
make
like, yeah,
jokes,
you're going to have to be in this room. And we're like, okay, how bad could it be?
Room was generous.
As it turns out, it was like maybe 5 feet by 5 feet.
Yeah.
And there were like...
I feel like there was a sofa in it that touched both, like, 3 of the walls.
Yeah,
Like the sofa was touching 3 of the walls.
And let's see. Yeah, so I mean, I spent about an hour and a half in that room.
Yes.
Basically calling friends from home, being like, "You'll
I'm
never
in
believe
a
where I
fucking
am."
closet. I'm trapped in a closet in Utah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was out in the club trying to get a drink, and I went up to order a drink, and I ordered a bourbon and Coke, and it was $12 or $13, I think, which was insane, right?
Did we not get drink tickets?
No. And I was made aware of the law that at least was the law at the time, or at least they claimed it was,
I'm sure
that they had this special contraption that went on the liquor bottle before you poured the liquor in. And so in one hand you had the soda squirter, and on the other hand you had the liquor bottle and this O-ring thing that went over it that added water to your drink. And I was like, how about you don't add water to it and just give me less alcohol? And then I realized that the reason why it was so expensive and that they added water to it is that Utah's plan is to try and make you hate drinking. Like they were trying to make it miserable for you, and it was a shitty it was terrible. It was an awful drink, and I was so irritated. Like at that point, because Matt had been locked in the closet, and all this shit was going on. It was like he was trapped in the closet, literally. Yeah. And then the band that played before us was like a Mormon
emo band.
Okay, I was trying to think. For some reason, I thought that they were kind of psych rock, but no, they were emo.
They were emo. Yeah, they were emo. We played with a lot of emo bands.
Yeah,
we played with a lot of emo bands. We played with a lot of goddamn laptop bands.
Yeah.
Product of the time.
But any of the times that we were with like an actual garage band, it was like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is great.
And it was
or
usually
a punk band
decent,
or whatever.
Yeah,
it would
was
be
usually
a good
a decent show. But like so many fucking local emo bands.
So we played with this shitty Mormon emo band, and we say Mormon because like they were singing about it, right? Like I remember listening to the lyrics, and you and I had talked about it. It was just like, what did they just say that? What the fuck?
Were they called Magic Pajamas?
They might have been.
It was songs about Joseph Smith and Brigham Young.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they said before every song. So the song is about that time when nobody liked our people and we had to leave because they killed all of us. So then they were done, and they had a big crowd.
Yeah.
And they were done, and I remember the crowd stayed in the beginning, and Matt wasn't allowed to come out. There was a whole lot
somebody
of
had to like lead you to the stage, right?
Tattoo,
right? I was escorted to the stage
with his hand touching you, right?
Yeah, and
I had to set up your drums.
Yeah, I didn't get to set up my drums.
Yeah, I had to set up your drums. Tattoo Ryan like held you, right? Like I mean, he had his hand on you.
Yeah,
like led you to the stage with his hand on you, and we got up, and everything's ready to go, and we hit the first chord. And Justin flies into the audience, and the entire room leaves.
Just leaves.
Everyone just leaves.
Just scatters.
It's like they just immediately turn for the door, and we're like, okay, I'm out of here. Immediately. Like, not like, it wasn't like, oh, God, what's happening? It was like, oh, nope, okay, we're gone. And they all just left. And so suddenly we're playing like the world's most awkward show to literally no one.
Right.
Which was an improvement, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was okay with that, yeah. And then when we were done, you were let out the back door.
Yes.
They weren't even going to let you go back in the closet. I think at that point they were mad at us. I think.
The closet was too good for the likes of us.
Exactly. Like I think at that point it was like, nah. And so I remember you had to stand outside the back door looking in as we were carrying the equipment out. And we had to let out. And they were like, they made us get out right then, too. It wasn't like, you guys can mill around or whatever. It was like, no, get your shit out of here. And so we like busted ass, got everything out, got it all loaded in the van. And then no one would really talk to us. And we were trying to find a place to stay. And it was clear we weren't going to stay with anybody. So we were like, okay, fine. This will be a hotel night. And we were like, you know what? It's going to be okay because tomorrow we have a show where we're going to get a $300 guarantee because it's a college show.
Yeah.
And so we get in the van and we start driving towards
Moscow, Idaho.
Yeah. We start driving towards Moscow, Idaho. And we stopped at a gas station right outside of where the place was. And I asked the lady, hey, so, this was a gas station. And I was like, so we're about to head to Idaho. Are there any hotels like north of here? Are there exits with stuff? And she goes, I don't know. I've never been north of here. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I was like, I thought she was joking. And then I was like, oh, she's not joking. Okay. So then we stopped like at 4 or 5 places. And the hotels were closed. Like, I mean, people were staying in them, but unlike most places where they have like a night bell and you can like get somebody will wake up and be pissed off, but they'll give you a room. It was like, no, this hotel is now closed and you couldn't stay in it. And we kept pulling over trying to stay in hotels and we couldn't. And I don't remember where we wound up staying.
So Salt Lake City to Idaho, that's what the drive was?
Yeah.
That's a massive drive.
It was awful.
Yeah.
And there was black ice all over the mountains, remember?
Yeah.
And remember Black Ice, the silent killer?
Yes.
And
I got fucking Cliff Burton in Metallica, man.
That's true. Yeah. And
R.I.P.
yeah. But yeah, so that was some bullshit. That was some ridiculous bullshit. And then soon after that was Portland to San Francisco.
Which was also bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of
that
bullshit.
one's at least more enjoyable.
Yeah, the thing that's crazy to me about the Salt Lake City show,
too, by the way,
was that there are cool places to play in Salt Lake City.
So I've heard.
I've talked to people before who've had great
Dan
times.
told us. Yeah.
One of the best venues in the country, man.
Yeah.
We didn't play there.
We didn't play.
Wasn't our day.
No.
I think that a lot of our tour was playing the not cool places.
Yeah. And then we'd have those shows where it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you'd have the show and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
It's weird to me since I wasn't at that show. I mean, we were kind of annoying. I mean, I could see people like being like, meh, but leaving after one note.
Oh, I mean, no.
insane.
Justin jumped into the audience and they were like, nope, unacceptable. We're out. Like, it was just like, this is too much interaction. The band must stay on the stage. Like that was. It was
that's what it was. It was him jumping off.
Oh, he jumped into the audience, and it was like they scattered. Like it was like you turned a light on.
They couldn't deal
with
with the confrontation.
Like, I guess.
It was pretty clear that there were no shared values there.
No.
Yeah, right.
But so we after those, like I don't remember anything of much consequence happening in Seattle or Portland or anything. I remember on the way to the show.
The only thing I remember about Seattle is how awesome the experience music.
That was really cool. Yeah.
That's the place where we crossed paths, right?
No.
Like World Trade Center was on tour. You guys were you guys were there the day before at China something. Is that?
We were in Seattle for a couple of days.
I know what you're talking about. The Chop Suey.
Chop Suey.
We didn't play there. I don't think.
Well, we were playing there.
Chop Suey?
And you guys had just like played because we saw each other.
I think that is where
we did play Chop Suey.
We saw each other for like 5 minutes. You guys were like leaving and we were coming in.
Yeah.
Because
that place was beautiful.
Because the bartender at that club was the guitar player from Murder City Devils, who was also in Modest Mouse.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So that's where we touched on this tour.
What was that band that wasn't Modest Mouse? Was it?
Ugly Casanova.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway.
So then between Portland and San Francisco, we were like falling asleep driving through the mountains, and so we were like, we have to stop at a hotel. We have to stop and stay at a hotel. There's just nothing we can do. We're like, we're gonna die in an accident if we don't. So it was ski season though. And we stopped, and the only hotels in the mountains there were like ski lodge hotels, right? Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
You don't remember what we wound up doing?
This.
So we pulled into a place, and I went in, and I was like, do you have any rooms available? And the guy's like, yeah, but they were like fucking really expensive,
like
right?
$500.
Yeah, it was like hundreds of dollars, and it was just like, okay, that's not going to work. But I don't know what to, like. Can we sleep in your parking lot? Like I don't know what to do. And so the guy cut us a deal that like they had an empty room that no one was in, and it was already like 3 a.m. And he was like, as long as you're out by like 6 or so, it was like 6, I think, because we had like 3 hours to sleep, and we wound up sleeping for like an hour or whatever. And the guy was like, you can just, and I don't remember if we could have it or what it was, but whatever it was, we stayed in this room, and like I remember closing my eyes and then immediately opening them and being like, motherfucker, that was so not worth it.
That feeling.
Like, it was awful. But then we get to San Francisco and played with the Pattern.
Yes.
And
the Pattern.
We went to Lookout, and Chris showed us around, and we saw that stuff, and we hung out with them, and that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, we were in San Francisco for like 3 days.
Yeah, because that's when we went to see I Spy with Harmar and Chris Applegren, right? The remake of I Spy, the TV show.
With like Owen Wilson and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Maybe we didn't all go. We
I don't
split
think we
up.
all went. Yeah, I think
it was so bad.
I think I went. I think some of us went and hung out with Chris, and like he like took us to like some places in like Oakland.
Yeah.
Or wait, did he live in Berkeley or did he live in Oakland?
He lived in Oakland.
Okay.
We saw movies on tour twice, both times with Harmar.
Yeah, because we saw
Harry Potter.
Well, I went and saw The Ring. Some of us went and saw The Ring, and some of us went and saw Harry Potter.
Okay. Yeah. That was tour movies. Harmar likes tour movies.
He does. But yeah, no, we played at this. What was that place in San Francisco called? Like under the
Bottom of the hill.
No. That wasn't. Was it that place?
Yeah,
No, it was a different place that we played at.
Yeah, it was I don't know. It was like a
Café du Nord.
Café du Nord.
That's a good venue.
That was cool. That was really fun.
That
it
show
was a killer
was awesome.
show.
Yeah, that show was awesome.
And then we were, after having not slept the night before, because we stayed in that hotel for 2 hours, then we went to a party at the Pattern's house.
Yeah.
That was like rock and roll party.
Right.
Like it was like
All Night Rager.
What the fuck? Like
Yeah.
that was just bananas. it was a good time. That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
there are things that happen there that are stories that won't be told.
Yes.
Nothing terrible, but there was just mostly because they can't really be remembered. But that was a really good time.
Yeah, that was a lift me up show after several downer shows.
Yes.
Those are always the best. When you've played like about 4 bad shows in a row and you have a great show followed by like a great night.
I need to go back at some point. I mean, it would have been helpful to have done this before now, but to figure out, because I think this was also the same time that we were getting ousted from Kindercore.
Oh, no, this is definitely during that time.
Because we were in the Pacific Northwest, I think, at a truck stop when our phones got turned off, if I remember correctly. Again, we won't tell that whole story. Wait for the movie, but...
TV show.
Yeah, or whatever.
HBO.
Webisodes.
Yeah.
Wait for the webisodes. So it was a real... I think at that point, we turned the corner, or I turned the corner of just being like, fuck it. I have no idea what's happening with my life right now. This is just going to get stupid and crazy. And then we met up with Harmar and the Gossip. Yeah. So was there any, between San Francisco and LA, there was...
No, we played a show in San Diego. That was the first... Or no. Okay, so we went to LA.
Yeah, where we played with Lou Barlow.
We played a show with Lou Barlow.
Who was not excited about us.
No, I mean...
We were not excited
I
about
don't think
him
we
either.
had any interaction with him.
I just remember... Well, I mean, he just was pissed off about everything. It may not have been us. I don't know.
I just remember, we played a show in Silver Lake somewhere.
Yeah, we
at
the Silver
venue.
Lake Lounge.
Yeah, it was like a pretty big venue.
You guys had some good venues.
Absolutely. Yeah.
West Coast sounds like they were all the good venues.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got to this club and we're playing with Lou Barlow, and I was like, I mean, there'll be people here, but they're not gonna fucking like us.
Yeah, and he was him sitting in a chair playing acoustic guitar, being
just
about as sad as he's ever been.
Yeah,
you think Lou Barlow can be sad? He was made.
Just you wait.
Yeah, it was super sad.
So we opened for Lou Barlow. Nobody at the club was into us.
Yeah.
But after we played, do you remember we met Les?
I forgot all about him. Oh man.
So I'm standing alone at the bar, watching Lou Barlow play his Sad Bastard.
It was our
music.
LA moment.
And this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I really loved your band, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm a lawyer. I represent musicians, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Do you guys have management?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
we laughed.
You were like, I mean, I was just.
No one wants to manage this.
Sir, we're just barely managing.
And I was
unmanageable.
I was like, no. And so this guy, he gives me his card, and I immediately give it to Ryan. I was like, I'm not dealing with this guy.
Yeah.
And
and that almost went some places.
Yeah,
American was interested in. There was some stuff that was happening from that. That was actually kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the guy who got American. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, he got us a few opportunities.
Yeah, there was some stuff that
we did not do much with, but still,
we broke up before anything could have happened.
Yeah.
But
so after that show, we were going to.
Because we were about to start touring with Harmar.
We're about to start touring with Harmar. Our tour with Harmar started the next day.
Yeah.
But Harmar was having a record release party in Los Angeles that night.
Yes.
At this place. It's like a bar above the Roxy called
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Yeah.
And
classy.
So we got in touch with Harmar, and he was like, "Yeah, come to my record release party tonight." Mm-hmm. There was a password. Do you remember the password?
I don't.
I don't remember.
Now that you say that, I totally remember that there was a password.
Yeah, he was like,
That's
"Okay,
right.
you need to tell the doorman this password." We were like, "All right, this is."
I don't even remember there being a lot of people there either. I mean, there were people, but I don't remember it being password worthy.
Oh,
but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I remember there being people there.
We were pretty drunk.
Specific people.
Yeah,
It was a quality, not quantity of people.
That's true.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we go down. It's in Hollywood, right? Is the Roxy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's right on Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, it's right on Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, so we find a place to park on Sunset. We go to this club. All right, we get the password.
Right, the Sunset was signed.
We walk up. So as soon as we walk in, Nick Zinner from the AAS is being kicked out of the party. And I was like, "Hey, I know that guy."
How does that guy get kicked out of a party?
He was taking photographs.
Oh, that's right, because there were famous people there, right? Because the AAS weren't famous. They were
as famous as the people he was taking pictures of.
Yeah.
So
at that point,
So, Nick Zinner's getting kicked out of the party. Harmar is throwing a fit.
Because he's getting kicked out.
Because he's getting kicked out. we go inside. Jack Osborne is there, and he's hanging out with Kurt Cobain's little sister, like his like half sister or something, who was like a teenager at the time. And they're like Jack Osborne is literally passed out, face down, at a table, and I was like, this is fucking surreal.
It was totally like, what is happening?
And so we go and we're hanging out with Harmar, and we're talking to Harmar, and he's like, you guys just missed the craziest shit. And I was like, crazier than this? And he's like, yeah, I just had Fred Durst and the lead singer of Puddle of Mud kicked out of my car.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, he was like, they were trying to come in. I was like, fuck that shit.
Let the agenda in. Don't let real rock stars in.
Like he's kicking out these douchebags to let us in. So we hang out at that party all night, for like hours and hours. We met the Gossip that night.
Okay, yeah.
We met Hero.
Yeah.
We met everybody that we're going to be on tour with.
Yeah.
And like our roadie Joseph, he was like, there was some girl he was friends with in San Diego. And that was where we were.
Yeah.
And that was where we were playing our next show.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, all right, I want to go.
Yeah.
But Harmar was like, you can stay with us.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, we and the Gossip we already have a hotel.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys can just crash with us. And so I was like, let's stay. Me and Ian were both like, let's stay. But Joseph was our designated driver.
Yeah.
And so he was like, no, I want to go to San Diego. And so we were like, fuck, all right, fine.
Yeah.
So we're leaving the club, and we're walking down the street, and we noticed that our van, where we had parked, is blocked in.
Yes.
The van that's blocking us in has the Epic Records logo on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, big white van with the Epic Records logo.
Like a big logo?
Yeah.
Like on the side?
Yeah.
Kind of thing? Yeah.
Van door opens up. 2 people step out.
Stumble out. Step is generous.
Those people are Courtney Love
and
Kelly Osbourne.
Yes, they were.
Wait, we didn't tell this last time?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Ryan Lewis, being quick of mind, popped out his camera.
Which was, of the time, a disposable camera.
Disposable camera.
Yeah,
right.
With a flash. My high-quality disposable camera.
Pops it out. He's like, holy shit. And Ryan just snaps
bam.
Snaps a photo of...
No shame, just like right in their faces. Yeah. Like, fuck this shit. This is hilarious.
That snaps a photo of Courtney Love and Kelly Osbourne. Courtney Love is like, hey!
She starts screaming at us.
Screaming at us.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? And we're like, sorry.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you guys a band? And we were like, yeah. She's like, are you one of those the bands?
Yeah. And we were like, yeah.
Guilty as charged.
We're like, yeah. And she's like, where are you from? L.A.? And we were like, no, we're from Athens, Georgia. Suddenly she's like, oh.
Yeah.
R.E.M., Michael, I love our Athens, blah, blah. And then suddenly she's like really nice and is like talking to us and stuff. And she's like, do you guys have a demo tape? And we're like, no, we have a CD. And she's like, I don't want that.
And then they got rushed away.
Yeah, right? Well, no, then they just like walk off down the street.
My favorite thing about it was like she mentions Michael Stipe, like she's dropping names to us who are nobody.
Yeah.
And she's bragging that they were just hanging out at Winona Ryder's house.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I make a stupid joke like, "Oh, you better check your purse," because Winona Ryder was just like
they didn't like that.
Arrested. No, she was so fucked up. She actually literally checked her purse. It was
right. I forgot about that.
It was really confusing to everyone.
Because she didn't realize you were joking. She was like, "Wait, what's happening?"
So a deadpan delivery.
That was super awkward.
So
Weird.
we got in the van. We drive to San Diego.
Yeah.
The next night, Gossip and Harmar show up,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Dude, why didn't you fucking stay?"
Yeah.
So what happened was, like, literally as we passed Ships in the Night with Courtney Love, Courtney and Kelly Osbourne go back to they're going.
Didn't you make that connection? Jack was there. Why didn't you think they were going
No,
there?
I mean,
I knew they were going there.
I figured that's where they were going.
Okay.
Well, anyway, they didn't. Courtney was like, "Oh no, you guys are staying with me tonight," and invited Harmar and the Gossip to stay at her house.
Oh,
That's right.
God.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
And so,
fucking Joseph.
yeah.
No doubt, man. Holy cow. I don't know that I would ever.
I could have
forgive
taken
him.
all kinds of dumb pictures there.
Oh yeah. So like they
Your
stay.
disposable camera with the flash.
So while we're going to San Diego, so that our roadie can like hook up with some girl, like the bands that we were on tour with are hanging out at Courtney Love's house.
Yeah.
And she's like showing him Kurt Cobain's guitars and like fucking like trying to do and doing like drugs with them and shit like that. And like,
Jesus.
Yeah. Like we totally could have like,
and you were in because of Athens too. Like it would have been.
Oh yeah. No,
amazing.
we were in. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't care. It would have just been the fucking craziest thing that had ever happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so we missed that.
So
do we have that picture? Do we have that picture still?
Yes, I have. I
do have it. Okay,
can we put that on the website?
Yeah. Please, like, let me take a picture of it or scan it or whatever, and we'll put it up for the episode. So, in a little while, when we had a little while off, we stopped at a Walmart in Texas and did the like 1 hour photo developing thing. I think we were getting the oil changed on the van or something at the time, and you could pick borders to go around the pictures. Like, I would print out. Your picture like with like a bunch of copies or whatever, and then you cut them out, and so you could pick a border. And again, in the post 9/11 world that we were living in,
oh yes,
there was, as there continues to be, but at the time,
everywhere
it was a lot of fetishization of soldiers and cops and firemen, and so I picked the American Heroes frame that said American Heroes on it. And was surrounded by headshots of firemen and police officers and soldiers.
And like a eagle.
And like a fucking eagle. And then this picture that was like a terrible picture. Like photographic wise, it's an awful picture. Like they're like the flash is like fucked it up, and they look ridiculous.
They look like ghouls.
They do look like ghouls. And in the background is the Sunset Boulevard sign, right? Like, is that what it says right there? Like it's like right over them. Yeah. I mean, it's just what a garbage thing, and it was so great.
I carry that post,
and so we got a bunch of them made, and we gave them to everyone we played with. Remember?
Yeah.
We were giving the pictures to the other band. Like we'd be like, oh yeah, check this out. Oh no, we have more. Here, take one.
Yeah.
This is for you.
So there's this
wallet
is an awful
size
picture. I can't wait to So this will be on. Oh no, there's less. Okay, I thought it was all like cops and soldiers, but there's also the Statue of Liberty, a really big dumb flag, and there's multiple flags. This is a dumb picture. It's so good. So that'll be on the website for you to check out, because that's some good stuff.
It's like that weird 90s airbrush Photoshop before Photoshop kind of thing,
but it was still in the 2000s and after Photoshop. But whatever.
But they didn't do that with Photoshop. They did that like
with Corel Paint.
Somebody did that by hand probably. That's on the wall somewhere.
They actually got the Statue of Liberty and those flags and everybody to get in frame at once so they could take a picture. So then after that, did we tell the story about the El Paso, about the liquor bottle, the empty Jack Daniels bottle in the jacuzzi?
No.
I remember we played in El Paso with Harmar and the Gossip. That show was right on the border.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like really weird. Like we got lost on the way to the show, and I remember thinking like, oh shit, where are we? Oh, wait a minute, this is the border to Mexico. Like, it wasn't a big border crossing, but there was like a wall there. Mm-hmm. See, there was already a wall.
It was the preliminary
Maybe
steps.
That was what America was great. Maybe the wall went away and he's trying to bring it. I don't know. But anyway, so we were kind of lost, and I remember that was the first time I'd ever seen the border that way. And I remember there was a bus station right there that you could go to two places. You could go to L.A. or Chicago, I think. And basically, it was like if you could get across the border and get on that bus,
you
then
win.
Then like you got in basically. But so we played. What? Go ahead.
Also, at the border, there was a McDonald's with a giant McDonald's.
Oh my
sign
God! Yes.
Pointed southward.
Yes, it was tall enough that it was over the wall, like basically, so you could see it in the poorest fucking part of Mexico, because that's
Juarez
like
is
Juarez.
Is
yeah,
it's like it's like one of the most dangerous.
And so sad. Like I remember looking across the border and just being like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?"
No, because there was like a hill where you could like see into Juarez, and there's like no light.
Yeah. But you're right. There was the McDonald's thing, and I think there was a couple others too. It was like basically it was just like America being like, "Come on."
Walmart side.
So we played that show, and it was a pretty great show, I think.
That was a good show.
Yeah, and so Harmar, as he did all these times, was just like, yeah, just come with me. I have a hotel, and we were like, no, we don't have any money, And he was like, no. I mean, just the most gracious tour mate ever was just like, no, just stay with us, whatever, we'll figure it out. So we went to this hotel that had a indoor pool and jacuzzi.
But before that,
okay,
we went to a all Prince dance night with like Mexican indie rock kids. Do you remember that?
Wow.
Yes, yeah. Well, because a couple of them had actually like hopped the border that night for the show, and were planning on going back. Like
that's right. Kids hop the border for shows, then, right?
Yeah, that was just a thing that they did back then.
Yeah.
That
doesn't happen
But
anymore.
yeah, so we were hanging out with them, and I think that there was like was there like a gay bar with a foam party too?
Matt just went to that by himself.
Maybe that was just me.
So we split up for a while. Matt went to a fun party at a gay bar. And then we wound up at this hotel that had an indoor pool that was like 2 stories tall. Like it had this big open area and everything. And there was this jacuzzi. And I remember I have very vague memories of that night because it was very drunken. And like I remember being in the jacuzzi drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels. And then sort of everyone like wandering off and going to sleep and waking up in the morning to go check out of the hotel. And I walked by the pool room and looked in, and there's an empty bottle of Jack Daniels spinning around in the jacuzzi. And it was just such like a perfect moment for that. And so then we went to Denny's with Harmar and the Gossip. And that was when Harmar decided he was going to order breakfast, but he also wanted lunch, so he ordered both, and then ate both meals. And he was really excited about it.
That's not what brunch is.
No.
Brunch isn't both. It's a different compromise.
Way. Yeah, it's them together, not as 2 separate plated meals. And then so we had those were some good shows. And then though that was also he had Lori Barbero, from Babes in Toyland on tour with him.
Yeah, she was his driver / like roadie.
Yes, and she was fucking awesome.
And then he had this Japanese dude with him,
Hiro Tanaka, right? Yeah.
I think his name is Hiro.
Yeah. Oh, he's still out there.
Yeah, he still does this. He still goes with bands, and
he lives in America full time now.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he's in L.A.
Yeah.
He was roommates with Matt Kurz for a little while.
Really?
Yeah, he knows everyone that we know in a million different ways.
Didn't he also tour with like
Poison the Well, PT Dub?
Yeah. Well, he would just come over to America like at this time.
At the time, yeah.
He would just come over, and then he would just stay here for like 6 months, just touring with bands.
Yeah, selling merch or whatever.
Yeah, he would just sell their merch and tour
and take pictures.
Do you
remember he took pictures? This was before smartphones and Facebook, and he took pictures of every meal he had. Yeah. And I remember thinking it was the funniest thing.
Ahead of his time.
He was so ahead of his time. But I remember we were at the in Tucson at the Hotel Congress, which was that was another awesome place.
Maybe that is the best venue.
Yeah,
right?
that place is fucking great. And is
that the place where they caught John Dillinger?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And it's the place where they have it's like the hotel bar is the club, and they let you stay there for free, and everybody gets as many rooms as you want. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, that night that was an awesome show.
And they had this great restaurant, and we were eating at this restaurant, and they had a pie carousel, like from an old diner thing, and we were like all eating, and Hiro just wouldn't stop filming the pie carousel. As he was like taking pictures and filming this carousel just spinning around.
Oh yeah, for like the first 15 minutes, we were just straight up like, where's Hiro?
Yeah.
And finally we see that he's filming the pie carousel one level at a time. Like he was waiting for each level to do a full rotation, so he could get the whole spread.
Yeah. He really loved to take pictures of food. It was really good. I think he actually has photography shows now too. Like I think he may. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But so I remember going. I think it was the last show that we had with Harmar. Was in somewhere in Texas, and
I think the El Paso was the last show.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because we stayed. No. Because we stayed at this other hotel where you all screen printed T-shirts in the Gossip's room.
Yeah.
Because we all had those Gossip T-shirts that you guys screen printed. But we went to a biker bar with Lori. Do you remember? Maybe all of us didn't go. Some of us may have stayed at the hotel. I don't remember.
It was in
Maybe we did.
It was in Texas, and like I forget what.
It was a weird part of North Texas.
Yeah.
And we went, and I think it actually was snowing lightly or something. Maybe that was the next day. But we went to this total straight up biker bar, and I remember walking in, and we were all like, and she was like, "No, it's cool, we got this." And we were like, "Oh, okay." And so, and it was like there was like a cover band playing. That was like I think it was just like 2 dudes, and it was ridiculous. Like it was, that was a good time.
Yeah, like the drummer had one of those like Phil Collins headsets, I think.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was good.
Good stuff.
I did feel perhaps the most unsafe I've felt in tour.
Yeah,
in
really?
that one bar.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, bikers are
there's
intimidating
they're
dudes.
squirrely.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did we tell the stories about forgetting his bass?
No, we didn't.
Oh, well, God.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do that.
These are the classics.
All right, so
I got really used to with the agenda having to make sure that I told everybody, like, because I was always trying to organize everything, and it would be like, just make sure you remember all your stuff, right? And I thought, we're going to England to go on tour to play with our band. And so I felt like I probably didn't have to remind people to bring their instruments. But we got to the airport, and Ian got there. He met us there because he was staying with his family that weekend.
In Atlanta.
He shows up at the airport, and he walks in, and he's like, hey, guys, let's do this. And I was like, where's your bass? And he was like, holy shit. So he had to call his mom, who had just dropped him off at the airport. She had to go back to her house, get his bass, bring it back to the airport to get on the plane. And that was like a whole thing. Like, we might not get it in time, and the plane. Yeah,
and this is right post 9/11, right?
Yeah, it was
so
real.
Travel was very challenging.
Oh, and they took all of our equipment apart. Remember, they opened up your cases and everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you were really. You were like, I remember how, because you were like, my keyboard case only goes back together one way. Like, everything has to be there a certain way,
or it just falls apart.
Yeah, and then they just took it apart, and then they were looking at you like it fell apart, and they were looking at you like, what the fuck? And you were like, I just told you. Yeah, that was because you couldn't go anywhere near your stuff.
Right.
Remember, it was like you couldn't touch it.
Oh my God, that was so stressful. Wow.
So we go to England and we play all those shows and do all those things. And when we left America, I had gotten everybody. I had all of our work visas and I had all of our airplane tickets and everything. And I gave everybody their tickets. I was like, okay, everybody, you got your passports. Here's your tickets. This is your ticket to England and your ticket back. Make sure that you don't lose it. Blah blah blah. And so we play shows in England. There's all this stuff happens, and then we're on our way back to America, and we're in the van, and the airport is not in London. It's like 40 minutes away, and we're almost to the airport. We started seeing the signs for the airport, and I was like, all right, everybody's got their bags ready. Everybody's got your tickets. And Ian goes, I see him getting nervous and shuffling some stuff, and everybody's like, yep, got my ticket. Yep, got my ticket. And he's like, you didn't give me my ticket. And I was like, oh no, everybody had their tickets. And he was like, no. It was like the receipt. I just threw it. I threw it away right before we left. I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? And he was like, no, that wasn't the ticket. That was just like the stub from my ticket from Atlanta. I didn't need it. He was like arguing with himself about it. And he had literally kept it on him for like the whole 2 weeks we were in England and threw it away that morning in London. Yep. And it was like, yeah, no, we can't turn around. Like, there's no way. So we had to go to the airport, and he had to buy another ticket.
Yeah, he had to pay. We had to pay like $200
or
200 pounds.
And I remember we got to the airport, and we were like, you know what? Figure it out. And we were like, we're not going to miss this flight. So he got it and caught back up to us, and everything was fine. But Jesus Christ, man. Are you fucking kidding me?
Classic Ian.
I mean, man, Ian, I love you. But, dude, wow.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
That was an amazing one.
Yeah.
And then to end it, do you guys remember the hurricane that ended our career? So, we had a show booked.
There's so many jokes that I'm holding in right now.
No. So we had a show booked in New York City. This is after our second England show. The Darkness.
Oh, when we were supposed to play with the Darkness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was the Darkness were playing. Where were they playing at? The Bowery?
Yeah.
They're playing at the Bowery Ballroom.
I blocked this out.
We were opening for the Darkness.
Yeah.
Specifically, though, we were playing for Columbia Records.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or whatever fucking label had signed the Darkness. Like Ian had worked this out.
Not Ian Cohn from the Agenda, but Ian Johnson, our British label dude.
Ian Johnson. He had set this up for us. So we were going to open for the Darkness at the Bowery, and there were going to be reps from Columbia Records there to see us.
Yeah. And this was at the point when like American was in. There were labels interested. We were like on the verge of maybe doing something.
A little buzz.
Yeah. So we get to the Atlanta airport, and there's a fucking hurricane off the East Coast. Like, it's like right off North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so they keep delaying our flight.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Keep delaying our flight.
Yeah. I forgot. I blocked all this out
I
of
totally
my mind,
blocked this out. Yeah.
So we were at the Atlanta airport for like 6 hours, just waiting.
This is a very Almost Famous.
And it was
moment,
like,
right?
and it was like, it's getting close to load-in time.
Yep. And then
it's getting close to sound check time.
And then it was like probably like 7 o'clock. We called Panthers, who we had toured with in England.
Yeah.
And we were like, you can take our spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we were using their equipment. Like they were going to pick us up at the airport. And take
us
to the show
let us use their equipment. That's right. Yeah.
And as we know, the Panthers went on to be a top 40 band.
Yeah. You know the Panthers today from their numerous hits.
Because hip hop is not the only thing on the radio. The Panthers are.
They changed their name to 21 Pilots, and then the rest is history.
But so that was. I mean, and we did. That wasn't our last time that we were going to play a show, but that was definitely.
But that was like our last. That was like a
last chance for a piece of the action.
Yeah,
that was
seeing it slip between your fingers, going, we were almost there.
That was it.
Yeah,
I mean, that was when I gave up. My heart was no longer in it
after that. I don't think we played shows for any reason besides just to have fun.
I don't know that you may have not played shows with us after that or did you? But I know that we played that one awful show
at Caledonia.
Well, we played an awful show without you.
No, it was without me.
No.
I watched it.
No, but we played one at the Earl. Did we talk about that Earl show that was like literally one of the worst shows that anyone's ever had?
Do you want to talk about that?
Where Sean Sawyer, who had to play with us with a broken foot.
Yeah, he had a broken foot. He was filling it on drums. And Ian accidentally walked backwards off the stage and pulled his entire bass rig off. and everyone in the audience like moved out of the way and was just like, nah.
Yeah, and we were playing with Panthers.
Yeah.
Because they were on tour. And we were like, oh, we'll play with you in Atlanta.
Yeah. We were arguing with each other in the microphones, like talking shit about each other. Like it was just garbage.
I think it might have been the last original Agenda show.
Yeah, and the sound man handed me a CD of the show, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like, and somewhere I have it. I have to find it because like at some point I was like, "Man, I would love to like almost put that out as like this might be the worst show that a band ever had." Like a band that had once had quite good shows. This was a fucking garbage pile. But it was a good time, guys.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
You know what? We had a lot of fucking stupid things that happened.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie. Being in an Agenda is one of the best things that I ever did in my life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I love all you guys.
Yeah. Oh,
we love you too.
And I'm gonna miss
now
you
you're
guys.
moving.
I know.
Yeah.
Man.
Now he's leaving.
I'll miss you guys.
Yeah. We'll miss you too.
All right.
You gotta come back.
I will.
We'll go. Maybe we'll go there. I don't know.
Agenda reunion in Nashville.
Soon.
There'll be 0 people there. Joseph will show up. Joey will show up.
Sell merch.
Yeah.
His
merch.
Man.
Open up the old kissing booth.
Yeah.
Selling his bar.
Selling his own records again. Yeah. And his kissing booth. Yep.
Yeah.
He had the kissing booth.
There were nights where he made more at the merch booth than we did just because he had that kisses for $1 jar.
Yeah.
And Joseph also was a handsome man.
I think that picture
I
think that picture is the plastic pitcher that used to say kisses $1 is still in my house somewhere. But yeah.
Man,
good times.
You need to
find
all these things, open up a museum of shitty
next
tours.
Kindercore night, we'll put that on the booth.
Open up a museum of things that people don't care about.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that was a good time.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for being here on this little show that we do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Load In, Load Out, a Tour Story podcast produced in Athens, Georgia by me, Bill Fortenberry. Our hosts are Ryan Lewis and Cash Carter. If you enjoy the show, hit us up with a review on iTunes or follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Load In, Load Out. Thanks for joining us as always, and we'll see you next week.